Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. I'm pretty sure that it was going into 2022. It might have been 2021. I don't remember, but it doesn't even matter for this. But it was a couple of years ago that my New Year's resolution was to meditate every morning as soon as I wake up. I am very proud to say that I have, in fact, meditated every single morning since. And without being super dramatic, I will say that it has been life-changing for me. Very often, though, in these morning meditations, they'll say to set your intention, or more likely, like to choose a word or a quality, something like that to basically establish how you want to head into your day. Now, when they do this, I must admit that I typically panic. I'm like, oh my God, what kind of day do I want to have? I want to be peaceful. But wait, no, I need to be productive. Oh, but I want to be creative. Oh, but kindness. I need to feel kindness to myself and to others. But I should be grateful. I should always put gratitude first. But love. And don't forget, I've typically been awake for like maybe 3 minutes at this point. So I am in no condition to be making decisions like this. So basically, I guess I'm trying to say anxiety. Apparently, I choose being anxious as the intention that I would like to set for my day. Oh, and second guessing myself. Don't forget that. Second guessing myself apparently is also my attention for quite a number of days, which seems to be counterproductive when I actually say it out loud like that. The only thing that could possibly be more pressure-filled than that to someone like me is when I hear of people choosing their word for the new year. Like, oh my God, I can't even do that for a day. And now I need to do that for an entire year? How? Bless those people who can, but that is clearly beyond my capabilities. But I do love intention setting, and I think it's so very important for us to do. So I've chosen the intention that I have set for my 2024, and I thought I would share it with you, okay? Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. I would really like to tell you that I came across this when I was reading some spiritual guide, but I am always honest with you. TikTok. I heard it on TikTok, but it doesn't make it any less valid of an intention just because it came from TikTok. Every room you walk into, every situation you encounter, every relationship you're in, be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Set the temperature of the room or of the conversation. Set the tone, set the vibration. Allow others to rise to you. Don't adjust yourself or your frequency or anything about you to anyone else. Be the one who raises the vibration. Don't wait to see where others are. So that is my intention for the year. I guess my 6 words for the year. We attract what we are. So set the tone of your life, of your home. Set the temperature of your relationships. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Set the vibration high, and eventually your life and those in it will rise to meet you. Hey guys, it's Jen. This is Reframing Me. Happy New Year! I hope that you all had wonderful holidays and that 2024 has been off to a great start for you. I'm so happy to be back doing this thing. I mean, to be honest, I am happy to be back doing all of the things. I need a routine. I need a bedtime. I need to set an alarm and pre-make a pot of coffee because I have an alarm set. I need my normal food and my normal exercise. I am just a person who needs normalcy. I need a purpose. So I am very happy to have so many purposes again. We took our Christmas decorations down last night, which is the final step of my holiday cleanse. Don't get me wrong, I love putting up the decorations and I love having them up, but when it's over to me, it is over and I want them gone. And waking up to a normal, non-decorated house is just lovely. Oh, and I have a new mic that my kids, they got me for Christmas. So you'll need to tell me if I sound better. Do I sound more professional because I have a new mic? It is quite awesome. And I feel very smart and fancy. I am also happy to report back that I did my annual cleanse and reset over the holidays, and I am ready to go. Hopefully, you were able to use our 2024 reset conversation to do the same for your goals and your intentions. If you haven't, don't panic. It is not too late. Go in and listen to the Control Alt Delete episode. And you know what? I'll tell you a secret. It doesn't even need to be New Year's. There is actually no rule about that. You can reset your life at any time. I did do a lot of goal setting and put in a lot of work to determine what I need to do over the next year to then work towards those goals. Like what I need to do right now to set the roots for the goals as those intentional steps, like to go in the right direction. So as part of this, I, of course, now have this very, very long list of topics that I want to cover with you, and then another separate long list of prompts that I want to use. And while this is great, it's also a bit overwhelming to me because I look at it and it's like, I'm going to talk about this one today. No, this one. No, I want to talk about this one. So really, of course, my list to help me be more focused is actually making me feel less focused. But then I'm like, no, I'm not talking about any of those things today because we need to start the new year off right. Today, I figured that a great place to start our year would be having a conversation about points or maybe reminders that will help you have a better connection with your teens, help you have better communication, have more fun with them, basically just have an overall better relationship with them. Because what better way to start the new year fresh, right? So today, we're going to have a conversation about 10 tips to make a connection with your teenagers this year. And of course, as always, we're coming at it from a communication perspective, sprinkled with a little Zen in there. Okay, so first, and these are in the order that they came into my head when I was sitting down and really thinking about it and actually making a list. I think that's actually important to tell because I don't necessarily think that any of them are more or less important than another, but I do find it interesting how the list played out and how one maybe inspired another. So anyways, I find that all to be a little bit interesting. And I think it could probably say a lot. But anyway, I can't digress already. So, number one, don't take anything personally. I have said this before, and I will say it a million more times because it is so important in all aspects of our life. And it will lead to greater happiness and satisfaction in all of our relationships, but definitely when raising teens, because, everything's not about you. But truly, a key to happiness and peace is understanding that whatever happens around you, just don't take it personally. Things that your teen will do or not do, or what they say or how they say it, their emotions, their ups and their downs, the grunts and the bruhs. Don't take it personally. I understand that this is leading the list, asking for a lot out of you, and that this is so much easier said than done. But it leads the list because I truly think it is so important. In general, people's behavior is much more a reflection of them than it is of you. So don't make assumptions. This includes realizing that most things aren't actually about you. So let it go. and help them to figure out what the issue truly is. Back in the It's Not About the Socks episode, we spent a lot of time talking about how very often our behaviors or our emotions are just a metaphor for something else that's on our minds or that's going on in our lives. I know that I am totally guilty of this, 100%. I snap at my kids because they left their stuff on the counter. I'm not mad at them for leaving their stuff out. I am exhausted from a busy day where I feel like I do a million things, yet I barely ever get anything accomplished. And I feel like I'm responsible for everything and everybody. And now it's like 8:45 and I still have a laundry list of things to do. And there is a very solid chance that laundry is actually on that list. But I'm tired and I feel unappreciated and I want to sit down and I want to relax. So I snap at them, despite the fact that maybe there are like 3 things out. It's not a big deal. I know it's not. I know that those few things don't make a bit of difference. It's that I feel tired and overwhelmed and unappreciated and bloated. I always feel bloated anymore. But anyway, it comes out as snapping about like a stupid hoodie or an AirPod case and cheer shoes or whatever, because it doesn't even matter. It's not about those. It's not even about them. Remember, we've said it's really never actually about the socks. So when they are rude or seem ungrateful or lazy or they snap at you, don't take it personally. Understand that it is likely about something or someone else entirely. So shake it off, girl. I know it's hard, but it will 100% help your relationship. Be patient, which technically, I guess, could probably be an entirely different point even. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume that you know what is going on in their heads or in their lives. If you're patient with them and understanding of them, you can figure it out together rather than just assuming that they're lazy or entitled or rude or disrespectful. So to go along with this and to help them to figure out what is really going on, number 2, listen to them. Be an active listener. Becoming a skilled, active listener can help you with all of your relationships, especially your relationships with your teens. Oftentimes, just like you, they don't even understand what they're upset about or what they're sad or angry about. They don't even realize that it's actually about something else entirely. And if you can listen to them and realize what the actual issue is, your relationship with them will be much better. Now, we throw the terms, we've said this before, we throw the terms listening and hearing around as if they are the same, but they're not. Hearing is only the physiological processing of the sounds. Listening, though, listening means paying attention to and hearing it with thoughtful attention and giving it consideration. Active listening, it makes you engage. It's a way of listening and responding to the other person in a way that improves your understanding of them. This is how you want to listen, especially if you're trying to understand the person or if you're looking for a solution. When you are active, you're curious. You're trying to figure out what is actually going on. You want to help. So be curious. You need to have a genuine interest in understanding them and a true desire to understand what is going on. You need to be more interested in listening to actually hear what they are saying rather than only listening to formulate your response. Listen to understand, not just respond. So often we listen to other people only with the goal of responding to them, telling them our perspective or our opinion or solving their issue. But then we're only hearing what they say and putting the activity into formulating our response instead. So to actively listen, we should be doing so with a genuine curiosity to understand what they're saying. Number 3, take an interest in them and in what they are interested in. Ask questions. This is another time that the active listening is important. You cannot expect them to be interested in what you want them to be interested in or what you are interested in if you're not interested in what they are interested in. My God, that was a lot of words, a lot of interesteds, right? But you can't expect them to just naturally have the same interests as you. Some things, yes, are going to be organic, but others, this is when you're going to need to make an effort. I know I often hear from moms that say that they're looking to connect with their teens, but especially with their sons, because just organically, we oftentimes have some things in common with our daughters, like makeup or clothes or getting our nails done or whatever. I mean, obviously, not always. But there's often typically more overlap in interests than with our teenage sons. But regardless of sons or daughters, we need to make more of an effort, whether it's their video games or their types of movies or their TV shows that they like, or music or sports. Sending them reels and TikToks that are relevant to what they like, I have found it's a super easy way to interact with them just casually throughout the day. I mean, at this point in time, I would say that my algorithms are like 95% football and cute animals. And while I do enjoy football and cute animals, it's really mostly because I send my daughter cute animal videos, and so she sends them to me too. And I send my boys football memes and videos, and they send them to me too. Do I enjoy them all? Totally. Would it be 95% of what I see on socials if not for them? Probably absolutely not. But they are interested in them, and so I'm interested in them. Even if it's something that you don't know much about, learn. I'm going to be honest. Since the Smurf game for my Atari, I have slightly less than zero interest in video games. I am very bad at them. I play Mario Kart with my family and they end up ranked like 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm like 10 or 11 behind like Donkey Kong and Cat Peach or whoever else no one wanted to use. I remember there was this car. Do you guys, any of you remember that car soccer game? My gosh, what was it called? I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. You were like you were a car, like you were a physical car, not like in a car. You were a car and like you guys were in a cage and you were playing soccer. It was bizarre, but somehow I would always end up upside down and on the roof of the cage the whole time. I couldn't even play the game. And, Jesus, right back in those early Minecraft years, I tried. Anyway, I topped out with my gaming skills swinging on that spider web across Gargamel's castle. At least that's how I remember the Epic Smurf game. I don't know if that actually was how it was, but that's how I remember it. Now, my kids, especially my middle, they love games. He loves games. So if I tried to play, I have tried to play with them over the years, but once they outgrew dealing with my ineptitude, instead I watch and I ask questions. And he tells me all about them because he now knows that I love to ask about them. Do I love to ask about them? No. Do I actually have any interest in video games? Not really. But do I love him telling me about them and hearing about how much he enjoys them? Absolutely. 100%. So take an interest in what they are interested in. Fantasy football for us. I have always loved football, so it's not a huge stretch. But like, I've always loved a couple of football teams. Well, now I know it all because for the last few seasons, we've had one to start with and now two fantasy leagues together. It's become so much fun and just something that we all have in common. And like sharing videos and memes that they enjoy, it's constant. So it's not like a forced, let's go do this and force a fun mother son or mother daughter bonding experience. It's not that kind of thing. So when you do end up doing things together, like those more structured activities, it feels much more authentic because you're more constantly and consistently a part of their lives and of their interests. Number 4, manage that stability change dialectic, that one that we've talked about so many times. Families seek enough regularity, order, permanence, predictability in relationships. We like to know what to expect. It makes us comfortable. But some flexibility is necessary over time. So the change side of it is the tendency for family systems to reorganize themselves and adapt to new patterns of communication and new relationships, and to adapt in response to the growth and the development within the family. You may remember that relational dialectics, they're two things that on the surface, they look like they're polar opposites, but we need to maintain some degree of each to keep that delicate balance between the two and keep our family systems fully functioning. As parents, our kids are constantly changing. So our families are constantly changing. And so we have to be open to that change. We have to be open to growth and to evolution. We need to be adaptable. However, we also need to keep our families stable and consistent because we know that people like stability and consistency, especially teenagers. Yes, the ones who act like your traditions or your rituals or your activities are so stupid and so boring because they're not a baby anymore. Yes, those are the teenagers I'm talking about. Their lives and their emotions and their bodies and their friendships and their everythings are different from minute to minute, it seems, at least to them. So they need you to provide some type of consistency for them, some things that they can predict, even if they do seem resistant to it. And so we're constantly trying to have this balance of being stable enough for that consistency and that certainty, but still having enough change for that adaptability and that growth. And so that's really the line that we walk as parents. We need to provide enough of that stability and consistency and tradition. However, we have to realize that no, they're not babies anymore. And so we have to give them some room for flexibility and change. So we're constantly navigating the balance between the two. But if you can find that balance, you can have a much better connection with them. Number 5, validate them. Validate their feelings and their ideas. When we validate their feelings, we demonstrate empathy and we encourage them to open up even further. So don't interrupt them or don't dismiss their thoughts or their feelings. Those are surefire ways to discourage them from sharing with you in the future. And don't judge them. Teens often hesitate to confide in parents because they feel that they're going to be judged or criticized. So if you can create an environment where they feel comfortable talking openly, you will adopt a more non-judgmental approach. Acknowledge their perspectives, even if they differ from your own, and avoid jumping to conclusions or imposing your beliefs. But if we can foster non-judgmental communication, we encourage them to express themselves honestly and without any type of fear of negative repercussions. Yes, in your head, you are free to cringe away. When you are alone, you can let your shock show. But when they are talking to you, don't judge them. Don't roll your eyes. Even in your head, don't roll your eyes. And don't feel the need to contribute or to make their ideas or make their situation better. Be open to their thoughts and their opinions. And do not get so hung up on being right. I know we always think we know best. And most of the time, of course, we do. But oftentimes, with any relationship, and definitely with our teens, you need to think, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Because oftentimes, you can't have both. Number 6, show trust in them and start to treat them as more of an equal. I know that for many parents, this is a really difficult one. You've been their parent. You're the adult. They're the child. You're in charge and make the rules. You make the decisions and then they follow. But as they've gotten to be teens, they don't do so as much, right? They talk back. They don't listen. Even in our eyes, they might look disrespectful. They break your rules. Now, this is another decision like the do I want to be right or do I want to be happy decision. Because there comes a time when you are raising teens and if you want to connect with them more, and frankly, if you want to be happier in your relationship with them, there comes a time that you may need to reconsider your parenting style. Yes, you are the parent and they are the children, but they're not really children anymore. They're teenagers. They're semi-adults. And if you are a dictator, they will push back. And if that's the type of relationship that you want, then that's the relationship you'll get. But if you want more of a connection, then recognize them as the semi-adults that they are and let your relationship move from the vertical relationship that you had to more of a horizontal relationship, more of an egalitarian relationship. It might mean the way that you speak with them or the freedoms that you give them or the decisions that you let them make on their own. Trust them more. And sometimes they're going to surprise you. Number 7, give them space. Mental space, emotional space, physical space, just give them space. Literal space and physical space and metaphoric space. Do you remember back when we talked about the 2 ways that we communicate? Through verbals and through nonverbals. Well, verbals obviously are the words that we use. Nonverbals are all of those other things that we use to communicate our messages. Things like eye contact and touch and gestures and facial expressions and body language. Now, those types of things are obvious, right? Another nonverbal is the use of proxemics, which is space. We actually are able to communicate with each other with the use of space, whether it's something like how close we stand to someone when we speak, or about how we feel about someone based on how much space they are given. Like if you sit down to a crowded table and everybody moves down and scooches over quite a bit to make room for you to sit down to, what does that mean? Well, it makes you feel like it means that you're really welcome, right? But if they move down so slightly that you can barely find any space to kind of wiggle in and you end up sitting there like your shoulders all hunched together, you don't even have any room to lift up your arms to take a drink, it makes you feel like you're totally unwanted, like you're crashing their party, like you don't fit in or you don't belong. They have conveyed how much or how little you belong or how much or how little you are wanted by their use of space. Even if they say, come sit down with us, there's plenty of room, and then they barely shift over. Now, those are 2 distinct messages that they are sending to you. two messages that are in conflict with one another, because the two messages, their words are saying yes. All right, right, come over. But the other message, their nonverbal use of space, says, no, we don't want you. Which of those do you believe? The nonverbals, right? We always believe the nonverbals. Why? Because verbals are a lot easier to fake. And we all know that. And we all believe that the real emotions come out through the nonverbals. So start with physical space. You may be telling your kids that this is their house and they belong here. But if they don't have any control over the space in that house, they're not going to feel like they belong. Respecting teenagers' need for a personal space is huge in creating their feeling about where they stand in the family and a place that they want to be. Now, give them their bedroom, or give them a study corner, or give them like a playroom or whatever. But by giving them some space and not being afraid to allow them to be in there, that's super important. Sometimes they just need somewhere that they can do the things that they love, or refresh, or maybe even just hide from us. Parents oftentimes are concerned because their children want to be, or their teens, I guess, want to be in their rooms. They want to be alone. They are not feeling like they're part of the family. Why are they upstairs locked in their room all the time? Well, teens often want to be alone and just to think, because right now there's so very much for them to think about. Maybe they just are trying to figure out who they are, trying to figure out where they fit in the world. Or maybe they just need the opposite. They need the space to distract themselves with something that they enjoy so that they're not thinking. But give them some space to do it in. Let them have autonomy over the space. Let them make it how they want it to be. Now, would I choose pink walls covered in Drake and SZA posters and fairy lights? I would not. But if I was like my daughter and I was 15, I possibly would. Number 8, give them praise and acceptance for who they are, even if it's not who you wish that they were. We all crave love and acceptance, especially your teenagers. As parents, we have lots of ideas about who our kids are. Or maybe more, we have ideas about who we think they should be. Whether it's us expecting them to be who we are or wanting them to be who we are not. We project our dreams and our goals and our insecurities. We project them onto our children. I hear from parents who are often concerned because their teens don't seem to have a lot of friends, or they don't go out to parties, or they don't seem like they belong to things. They may even say things like, well, I was an extrovert in high school and they would rather be at home. I don't understand. Or they have so much athletic potential, but they just won't play sports. Or any of a million possible versions of this. My response always starts the same. Are they happy? And not surprisingly, the answer is pretty much always yes. Okay, so they're not you. Or they're not the version of them that you envisioned. Both are okay. Maybe they're a theater kid and not an athlete, or a homebody and not a party kid, or a Democrat and not a Republican, or bi and not straight. Or maybe they're vegan, or they're dating someone you never envisioned them with, or whatever way that they seem to be different or into different things than you expected. Keep in mind a couple of things. First, this is their story. It's their journey. It's not yours. We all see the world from our perspective, and no matter how open-minded we think we are, we tend to believe that our way is the way. It is not. Period. No matter how set in our beliefs and our ideas we are, there are multiple paths. And this is the one that they are on. And they want you to accept it. And if you want to have a connection with them, you need to accept it. However, you should also keep in mind that just because this is the path they are on now, that doesn't mean that that path won't change at some point. Teenagers are desperate to figure out who they are, how they fit in this world. They are trying on different versions of themselves, and that is completely normal. It is what they are supposed to be doing. And really, it is one of the reasons that they need that space that I just told you that you need to give them. They need your acceptance without judgment. So accept them for who they are, and your relationship will be so much stronger. Number 9, and really the perfect follow-up to number 8, and probably why I thought of it immediately after when I was coming up with this list. Be chill. And I don't mean that in a bratty, chill out, mom. I don't mean it that kind of way. I mean it more in a practice the pause and chill way. I like that. Practice the pause and chill. Just realize that your life and your relationships will be a lot better if you don't make a big deal out of it. Of course, there are actual big deals, but not as many big deals as most of us feel like there are. But if you actually zoomed out and could see life from a wider perspective, most things are not nearly as big of a deal as we make them out to be. Practice the pause. Stay calm. Pick your battles. Is this the hill that you want to die on? If so, great. Go for it. Maybe it is actually one of those big deals. But if not, then just let it go. Practice the pause. One of my very favorite concepts, and one that I can never remind myself enough. It's my favorite because it's literally life-changing and relationship-changing. When you can practice the pause and decide, is this really that big of a deal? And chill, it makes everything better. And number 10, raise your vibration. I have held woo-woo Jen back as long as I could today. I have deferred to scholarly Dr. Jen for 9 of these points. But you know that woo-woo Jen was going to make an appearance, right? Just like I know that practicing the pause is life-changing, I also know that the law of attraction and the law of resonance, they are absolutely life-changing too. We don't attract what we want in life or the relationships that we want in life. We don't even attract what we love, but we do attract what we are. So set the tone of your home. Set the temperature of your relationships. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. We've all heard that silly old weird saying, right? If mom's not happy, no one is happy. We'll set the vibration high, and eventually they'll rise to meet you. No, it may not happen immediately, but it will happen if you can stick it out. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me today. I know how valuable your time is, and I am so grateful that you spent it here. If you've enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. And please take a second to rate it, maybe even review it if you like it, because apparently that's how the algorithms work and how we can get more attention to our lovely little community here. And also, so someone rated me a 4 instead of a 5, which of course they certainly had the right to do. But that one little 4 pulled me down to a 4.9 rating. And I think that you all know me well enough to know that this is unreasonably eating away at me. Please follow the show so that you don't miss out on any new content. I told you at the beginning that I have been brainstorming and I have so many great conversations for us on the horizon. You definitely don't want to miss out. Follow me and reach out to me on socials, on Instagram and on TikTok, which I promise in 2024, I will use and grow my TikTok. So you don't want to miss out on that. But I am Reframing Me. And on Facebook, it's Reframing Me. And please join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community. That is another of my goals for 2024. That group is going to become the active and supportive community of women that I know it has the potential to be. Thanks again for coming along with me on this journey. And until next time, be well, communicate, and be the thermostat.